Welcome to sleep with myth. Close your eyes and let the world fade away. Tonight, we drift beyond time, where spirits wander and lanterns remember their light. The village of Tsukamori slept under a blanket of mist. It was the kind of night where the moon hid behind clouds, where the bamboo groves whispered secrets, and where shadows stretched just a little too long. The villagers barred their doors early, for everyone knew what wandered the roads once the last bell tolled. The Oboroguruma, the cart of fog, a spirit-wheeled phantom that roamed through lantern-lit streets, searching for forgotten memories and restless souls. But on this night, one lantern glowed brighter than all others. A single young woman named Aiko knelt beside the shrine at the village gate, her hands trembling around a small paper lantern. Its flame flickered wildly, refusing to dim though no wind touched it. Aiko whispered to it, "Please, just show me the truth." The flame steadied, brightened, leaned toward her as if listening. For this lantern was no ordinary light. It had chosen her. The whispers beneath the bridge. Aiko walked through the fog-strangled road, the lantern pulling her forward. The mist thickened with every step, glowing faintly white around her ankles. The silence of the night felt heavy, too heavy, as if thousands of unseen eyes were watching. She reached the old wooden bridge. The moment her foot touched the first plank, the lantern flared. A voice drifted up from beneath the bridge, soft, dragging, ancient. "Little lantern keeper, why do you wander so late?" Aiko held her lantern close. "I'm not afraid of you," she said, though her voice shook. A low wheezing laugh crawled out of the fog. "You should be." A shape unfolded beneath the bridge, wheels creaking, wood groaning. A massive ceremonial cart, covered in tattered cloth and broken lanterns, rolled forward on its own. Its wheels were carved with faces that shifted and blinked. The Oboroguruma. Aiko stepped back, heart pounding. The cart's cloth lifted as if caught by an invisible breeze, revealing a single enormous lantern embedded in its center. An eye of pale fire stared at her, and it remembered. "You," it whispered. "The child who cried under the moonlight, the child who lost something precious." Aiko's breath caught. She gripped the lantern until her knuckles whitened. "Tell me," she pleaded, "what did I lose?" The Oboroguruma's wheels turned slowly, and the whispering around the bridge deepened. Voices, memories, echoes swirling like mist. "You lost the one thing no child should ever lose." Aiko's pulse thundered in her ears. "Your last good memory of her." Aiko stumbled. "My mother?" The fog trembled as if recoiling from her pain. The lantern in her hands pulsed, once, twice, pulling her back to her feet. The Oboroguruma leaned forward, its enormous lantern eye flickering. "If you follow me into the night of 1,000 lanterns, I will show you everything you have forgotten." Aiko hesitated, but the lantern in her hands flared with sudden, fierce light, as if saying, "Go, seek, remember." Aiko lifted her chin, swallowed her fear, and stepped onto the cart. The fog swallowed them whole, and the night of 1,000 lanterns began. The lantern in Aiko's hands flickered, not with fire, but with breath. Pulsed once, twice, like a heartbeat learning how to exist. The glow inside it deepened to a soft blue, swirling as though something within it was gently waking from a long, unmoving sleep. Aiko stepped back, startled. Lanterns were not supposed to breathe. The old monk, Master Run, watched her silently from the steps of the shrine. His robes fluttered slightly in the cool night wind, though the air around him seemed otherwise perfectly still. "You felt it, didn't you?" he asked. Aiko nodded. "It moved." The monk closed his eyes. "Tonight, they all will." Aiko swallowed hard. "Master, is it true then? The legend of Oboroguruma?" Ren gave her a slow, tired nod. "Tonight is the night of 1,000 lanterns, and every spirit that was wronged, every soul that wanders without rest, follows the road of light." Aiko held the lantern closer to her chest. The blue glow brightened. The monk raised a trembling finger toward the mountain path ahead. "It has begun." One by one, lanterns across the valley sparked to life. Little stars rising from houses, streets, shrines, and riverbanks. Their lights drifted upward, pulled toward an invisible thread that guided them along the mountain road. And then, a distant rumble. Not thunder, not wind. Wheels. Massive, ancient, groaning wheels. Aiko's breath caught. Oboroguruma, the ghostly carriage, the wagon of forgotten spirits, the cart that rolled through the living world only on this night, when the veil between worlds grew thin and memories tried to come home. "Master Ren," Aiko whispered, "is it dangerous?" The monk's eyes reflected the lanterns rising toward the dark sky. "Only if you fear what you have lost." Aiko's fingers trembled around the lantern's handle. "And if I do?" Ren's voice softened. "Then the spirits will hear it." The wind shifted. The lanterns above them began to drift faster, pulled toward the summit like rivers of starlight. Aiko stepped forward onto the lantern road. The first gust of cold air hit her, and then she heard it, a whisper from inside her lantern. "Aiko!" She froze. A voice, a familiar one. "Mother?" Her heart pounded as the lantern glowed brighter. Master Ren bowed his head. "The spirits have recognized you." Aiko took a shaking breath. Then she followed the river of lanterns into the darkened mountain pass, toward the waiting wheels of Oboroguruma. The lantern path curved downward into a long, narrow street, one that did not appear on any map of the mortal world. Edo's nighttime glow faded behind Akari, replaced by a deeper, older presence. A presence that watched. The bamboo lantern she carried flickered restlessly, the flame dancing left, then right, as if bowing to something unseen. Akari stepped cautiously forward. The air grew thick with the smell of wet wood and smoke. And then she heard it, faint creaking, rhythmic, slow, like an ancient will turning under a great weight. She froze. Her grandmother had told the stories. When the wheel creaks, the forgotten follow. The street opened abruptly into a wide plaza drowned in shadows. Paper lanterns hung from broken posts, their light dim, their colors drained. Above them, Ghostly strings connected the lanterns like veins carrying memories instead of blood. But the center of the plaza held everything. A cart. Huge. Round. Ancient. A wagon well taller than Akari herself. Its spokes twisted into spirals. Faces carved into the wood. Some crying. Some screaming. Some staring blankly into eternity. Oboroguruma. The ghost cart of forgotten souls. Kari took a sharp breath. Its lantern glowed with a cold, blue flame, alive and starving. The wheel creaked again, turning a single inch. Kari felt the air shift. It wasn't alone. The faces in the wheel. The carved faces along the wheel began to move. Eyes rolled. Lips quivered. Tears carved grooves down wooden cheeks. Akari's lantern dimmed. She held it tighter, whispering, "Don't go out. Please don't go out." The wheel turned again. A voice drifted from its center. Not spoken. Not breathed. Remembered. "Why do you carry their light?" Akari's throat tightened. I don't know who you are," she whispered. "But this lantern, it called me." The wheel groaned. The ghostly blue flame inside it flickered with interest. All lanterns call someone, but they rarely call the living. Kari stepped back. The shadows behind her shifted. Not people, not spirits, memories. Hundreds of drifting silhouettes, faceless, silent, drawn to her lantern like moths seeking warmth they no longer understood. Kari shivered. "Please," she whispered. "I don't belong here." The wheel creaked, amused. "Then why did the lantern choose you?" She opened her mouth. And a voice behind her answered. Her grandmother's voice. Soft, warm, fractured with sadness. "You belong here because you remember what others forget." Kari spun. Her grandmother stood behind her. But not truly. A lantern spirit wearing her shape. A memory given form. "Obasin," Akari whispered. Her grandmother smiled gently, but her eyes were hollow. Empty windows looking into a life already gone. "You carry the last lantern," she said. "The only one whose flame has not yet been claimed." Akari clutched the lantern to her chest. Claimed by who? Her grandmother's shape flickered. By the wheel. The Oboroguruma creaked, turning fully toward Akari. This blue flame flared. The spokes trembled with hunger. The wheel spoke again. "Give it to me." Kari shook her head immediately. "No." The plaza darkened. All the faceless figures turned toward her. The wheel's voice deepened. "Give me the lantern, or I will take it." The lantern's memory. Akari raised the lantern high. Golden light spilled outward, gentle, warm, fragile. The wheel recoiled slightly, its blue flame dimming. The carved faces around its rim whispered at once. "Return it. Return the last one. Return the memory. Return the name." Akari's heart slammed against her ribs. "What memory?" she shouted. "What name?" Her grandmother's spirit reached toward the lantern, touching the bamboo frame with ghostly fingers. "It is not a lantern," she whispered. "It is the final memory of 1,000 forgotten souls. The wheel holds their faces, but not their names." She looked at Akari, fear blooming in her hollow eyes. And your lantern holds the last name it can never claim. The wheel screeched, furious. The ghostly silhouettes surged forward, grasping at the air around Akari. She stumbled back, gripping the lantern with both hands. "What is the name?" she cried. Her grandmother's spirit flickered violently. "Your name." Kari froze. The wheel roared, a sound like 1,000 carts crashing through 1,000 nights. Her grandmother's memory dissolved into drifting light. The Oboroguruma lunged, and Akari ran. The world blurred around Akari as she ran. Her footsteps echoed through the forgotten plaza, the bamboo lantern in her hands flickering wildly. Shadows clung to her ankles like hungry vines. The air thickened, cold and wet, as if the night itself were turning into a mouth ready to swallow her whole. Behind her, the Oboroguruma roared again, a sound like grinding wheels, cracking wood, and 1,000 trapped memories screaming at once. Kari didn't dare look back. She sprinted into a narrow alley lined with crumbling wooden stalls. Lanterns swung overhead, their lights dim and trembling, as if warning her to turn back. But she kept running. Her breath tore through her chest as the alley stretched unnaturally long, bending like a ribbon caught in the wind. "No, no, no! This street wasn't this long before," she gasped. Her lantern pulsed desperately in her grip, the warm golden flame shrinking, struggling against the dark. Then the alley curved sharply and ended. A wall, solid, immovable, covered in dozens of wooden masks, each painted with twisted expressions. Joy, sorrow, rage, fear, void. Kari pressed her hand against the wall. Cold, dead. The wheels creaking approached, slow, deliberate, savoring her terror. Kari spun around, raising the lantern. "Stay back!" The masks awaken. The Oboroguruma rolled into view, its massive will turning with a sickening slowness. The carved faces along its rim wept blue fire, their lips stretching into whispering moans. The ghostly silhouettes from before drifted behind it, forming a pale tide of forgotten memories. The wheel's voice seeped from its spokes. "Give me the name." Akari shook her head, clutching the lantern to her chest. "It's my name," she whispered. "I won't let you take it." The wheel creaked in anger. The masks on the wall behind her trembled. One by one, their painted eyes opened, revealing empty midnight voids. They whispered in unison, "A name unspoken is a life unremembered." Kari felt her knees weaken. "No, please stop." The masks peeled off the wall like sheets of bark breaking away, floating into the air, drifting toward her with slow, ghostly grace. Dozens of masks, each hungry, each seeking a face. Her face. The lantern fights back. Just as the masks closed in, her bamboo lantern flared. Not gold, not warm, white, pure white, like moonlight sharpened into a blade. The masks recoiled instantly, hissing. The Oboroguruma halted mid-creak. Akari stared at the lantern in shock. This flame had changed, grown brighter, fiercer. It wasn't just remembering anymore. It was resisting. A voice echoed inside the lantern. Soft, Familiar. Her grandmother's voice. Akari, you must see. See what? She whispered. The lantern pulsed again, and a ribbon of pale light shot forth, striking the nearest mask. The wooden surface cracked. Inside it, behind the mask's false grin, Akari saw a flicker of something human. A face. A real one. A young woman. Her features blurred like wet ink, eyes full of grief. Kari gasped. You were a person. The mask shivered. Its voice trembled. I was a name that the world forgot. Kari touched the mask gently. It dissolved into white light, released. The Oboroguruma howled, the sound shaking the alley walls. Stop! The names are mine. Kari lifted the lantern higher. No! You stole them. All these memories. All these souls. You trapped them inside yourself. The ghostly silhouettes withdrew from her light, scattering into shadows. Kari stepped forward. Her fear was still there, sharp, shaking, relentless. But something new rose behind it. Resolve. This lantern chose me, she whispered, and I choose to remember. The wheel sputtered with blue flame. Then you choose to be consumed. The alley splits open. The ground trembled, shaking dust from the roof tiles above. The wooden walls cracked, splitting open like ribs revealing bone. A second alley appeared to her left, a third to her right, a fourth behind her, all identical, all wrong. The masks swirled in a cyclone overhead. The ghost silhouettes dissolved into drifting fog. The Oboroguruma's bellows grew louder, deeper. Kari was being surrounded, trapped. The wheel rolled forward, its shadow stretching like a hand reaching for her very soul. She clutched the lantern, heart pounding too fast to be human. What do I do? She whispered. Please, someone, guide me. Her grandmother's voice flickered again from within the lantern. Look closely, Akari. The wheel chases the living, but fears the truth. The truth? The lantern's flame pulsed once, showing her a path. One alley glowed faintly, its lanterns flickering with warm, trembling light. The only alley where the shadows did not move. The only alley where the masks remained still. The only alley that felt alive. I see it, Akari breathed. Behind her, the Oboroguruma roared. You cannot escape. Kari ran, not away from the wheel, toward the truth. The alley Akari chose felt different from the others. Warm, breathing, alive. The lanterns overhead swayed gently, not in fear, but in recognition. Their golden light shimmered as if whispering her name with every flicker. Akari slowed her steps, clutching the bamboo lantern close to her chest. Obasan, I'm doing what you asked, she whispered to the flame. I chose the truth. The lantern pulsed warm against her palms. Behind her, the furious howl of the Oboroguruma shook the ground. Wood splintered, wheels roared, shadows twisted into serpents of fog. But none of it crossed the threshold of the glowing alley. The wheel could not enter. Not here. Not where truth still lived. Akari exhaled, relief washing through her. until she saw the figure waiting at the far end of the alley. A woman, tall, silent, wearing a kimono woven with silver threads that glimmered like starlight. Her face hidden behind a fox-shaped no-mask, white, elegant, emotionless. Kari froze. Who are you? The masked woman lifted a lantern of her own. This flame was white as moonlight. You carry the last memory, she said softly. Her voice echoed like wind passing through old paper doors. And the wheel will not stop until it takes your name. Kari stepped back instinctively. I don't want to lose my name, she whispered. I don't want to forget who I am. The woman shook her head slowly. You misunderstand. The wheel does not eat names out of hunger. She raised her lantern. White fire drifted upward like feathers of light. It eats names because people abandon them. Kari's breath caught. What does that mean? The woman stepped closer, the fox mask gleaming under the lantern glow. When a person is forgotten, when their story is erased, when their memory is ignored, the wheel claims them. Kari felt her throat tighten. All of those souls. She looked at her own lantern. They weren't taken. They were abandoned. The masked woman nodded. And your lantern carries the only name the wheel wants but cannot take. Kari swallowed. My own. Yes. The wheel approaches. Kari sprinted through the glowing alley, the bamboo lantern vibrating in her grip as if urging her forward. The sounds of the Oboroguruma thundered behind her. Creaking wheels, grinding wood, and the screams of 1,000 trapped memories echoing like a storm. But the alley she had chosen was different. Its lanterns glowed with soft, trembling light. The shadows stayed still. Its air held the faint scent of plum blossoms, like the warmth of a remembered spring. Even the ground felt real under her feet. Alive. Kari slowed, her breath sharp and ragged. Why does this path feel familiar? The lantern responded with a gentle pulse, as if answering, because this path is yours. She walked forward cautiously. The alley curved into a small courtyard surrounded by silent wooden homes. A single cherry tree stood in the center, its branches bare, its bark pale as old bone. Yet beneath the tree, a lantern hung, not like the others. This frame was made of smooth, polished wood. Its light glowed warm and gold. This flame trembled with longing. Kari approached slowly, her heart tightening. This lantern, I've seen this before. The bamboo lantern in her hands hummed, resonating with it. And then she realized why. This was the lantern her grandmother used to hang outside their home every New Year's night. Her breath caught. This is my memory. A whisper drifted through the air. Her grandmother's voice, soft as a lullaby. You were always meant to carry the last light, Kari. A tear slid down her cheek. But before she could respond, the ground shook violently. The wheel breaks through. The wall behind her exploded into splinters. The Oboroguruma crashed into the courtyard, its massive will burning with furious blue fire. The carved faces along the rim strained and twisted, screaming without sound. The wheel's voice boomed. This memory is mine. Kari stepped back, shielding the cherry tree lantern with her body. No, you can't take this. The wheel lurched toward her, crushing stone, shattering wood, devouring shadows. The sky above darkened. The ground trembled. The lantern in her hands flickered violently, but did not go out. For the first time, the Oboroguruma hesitated. "What is that?" it demanded. Akari raised the lantern high. "This is my memory, my name, my life. You can't have it." The wheel shuddered. Cracks rippled across the wood. Blue fire sputtered. The carved faces whimpered. "Give it to me." The wheel rumbled, weaker now. Akari's voice trembled, but it didn't break. "No, I'm not afraid anymore." The lanterns around the courtyard flared to life. One by one, dozens, hundreds. Their warm light poured across the ground like golden water, gathering into streams of memory flowing toward Akari's lantern. The wheel screamed as the light touched it, recoiling as if burned. What is this?" Akari stepped forward. "It's what you never understood." She held the lantern out. "Memories aren't meant to be devoured. They're meant to be shared." The cherry tree lantern burst into radiant gold. The entire courtyard filled with blinding light. The Oboroguruma roared and cracked apart. The wheel's true form. The wheel didn't explode, folded, collapsed, softened like molten wax. The ghostly blue fire evaporated, revealing the wheel's true body beneath. A small, trembling wooden cart, its carvings weathered, its frame broken, its ancient spirit exhausted. A voice whispered from within it, not monstrous, not angry, lonely. "I only wanted to be remembered." Kari's heart ached. She approached the weakened spirit. "I know," she whispered, "but stealing names, taking memories, it only made more people forget." The spirit shivered like a small child. "I was afraid of disappearing." Kari knelt beside it. "You won't. I remember you. I see you." The cart spirit slowly lifted its wooden rim, resting it gently against her lantern. Warm light flowed between them, soft, forgiving. The spirit exhaled a long, shuddering breath, and the faces carved into its will closed their eyes in peace. The night of 1,000 lanterns. The sky above the courtyard blossomed with light. Every lantern in the alley, every forgotten flame in the spirit realm, rose into the air. Thousands of them, glowing gently like fireflies drifting across a midnight ocean. The Oboroguruma's tiny true spirit floated among them, quiet, peaceful, finally free. Akari stood beneath the lantern storm, watching with wide, tearful eyes. Her grandmother's voice whispered one last time, "You have done what none before you could. You remembered the forgotten, and you kept your own name." Kari held her lantern close. "What happens now?" she whispered. The lantern pulsed warmly. A breeze swept through the courtyard, lifting her hair, stirring the cherry tree branches. And then, the world dissolved into light. The return. Kari gasped. She was standing again in the real streets of Edo. The first hints of dawn glowed on the horizon. In her hands, the bamboo lantern still burned with a calm, steady flame. a real flame, she exhaled shakily. It wasn't a dream. Above her, drifting gently downward, a single lantern spirit floated, small, wooden, trembling with soft golden light. The true spirit of the Oboroguruma. No longer hungry, no longer forgotten, just remembered. Kari bowed deeply. "Thank you," she whispered. The spirit bowed in return and drifted away into the morning light. And so the night of 1,000 lanterns ended. But the memory of the girl who carried the last flame, and the spirit who feared losing its name, shines still, wherever forgotten souls wait to be seen. Thank you for listening to Sleep with Myth.